Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we are back with a Corki supplementary guide, and today we're back with talking about the MANAMUNE Corki build. So you guys can see that basically as of now, the top two players are still using the MANAMUNE build. And personally for me, I think that this isn't the best build because I think that MANAMUNE's a little bit slow and you gotta kind of charge it up. It is, however, still a very viable build, and it is still great in the mid to late game. So definitely, it's a build you can go for, and definitely, if it's what you prefer, you can definitely go for that. So that's why I'm gonna cover this video and talk all about it. So basically, the core of the build is just your first three items: your Gluttonous Greaves, for your AD and your Omnivamp, and then of course you're going into MANAMUNE. MANAMUNE of course is going to give you a lot of mana, a little bit of ability haste and AD as well, and of course when you evolve it into Mirror Mana, you will get on-hit damage on your abilities as well as your auto attacks, as well as of course converting your mana into additional damage. And then of course your second core item is going to be Triforce. Now Triforce, of course, as I covered in my complete guide, check that out if you haven't, for what I think is Corki's best build. You get a little bit of health for a little bit of tankiness, get a little bit of AD as well, get 30% attack speed, which I think is actually very underrated and very important on Corki, because attacks of course do reduce the cooldown of your ultimate, and also of course Corki procs the true damage on his attacks now, and 25 ability haste, which is a ton as well. Now of course the best part of Triforce all in all is going to be Spellblade, because Spellblade of course is going to get proc by your true damage, so you will deal additional true damage with Spellblade, and that is basically the three core items in this build. The last three items are kind of what you prefer. So if you take a look at the top two players, the first guy, he likes to go for Charge Blade into IE and then more Reminder. You could go for that. The next guy actually still goes for Riftmaker. I don't quite recommend it, but if you prefer that, go ahead. And then you have more Reminder into IE as well. Now my personal favorite to go for is into the full crit. So I like to go for Bloodthirster Nyx, and then I'll go into more Reminder for the Armor Pen Grievous Wounds, and IE of course to boost my crit damage, as well as just, of course giving me a lot of extra damage. Bloodthirster of course with the life steal. But of course, as I said, the last three items are very flexible, so you have a lot of options. So in the game, you will see later on, I was against heavy AP. So after Triforce, I actually gone straight into Maw. Now Maw of course is an amazing item because it gives you 55 AD, which is basically almost the same as IE, and of course you get the Magic Resist ability haste as well, and the Demon Bane magic damage shield, which is really great. Of course you can also go for items like Magnetic Blaster. Another item that's insanely good on Corki is actually Black Cleaver. Not only does it make you tanky with the health, but lower your cooldowns with the ability haste and give you AD, but the Sunder passive also shreds armor, which causes the enemy champion to take more damage from both yourself and your teammates as well, and Corki procs that instantly with his E. So that is an option as well. So you basically have a lot of options. You could go full defensive at the back as well. You could go like MANAMUNE into Triforce and then into something like a Maw, for example, and then you could go for like Black Cleaver, and you could go for even Twin Guard. You could really go whatever you kind of want, but this is just my recommendation. Now after testing Corki even more, I actually feel his best rune is actually Fleet Footwork, and the top three players all kind of agree where they all go for Fleet Footwork. I think actually Fleet Footwork is better than going for Conqueror now, because I really think that the mana restore, the health restore, and the movement speed is actually just very helpful. It's actually a very, very underrated rune. Like the movement speed you get in teamfights to reposition is actually very, very useful, and you don't even notice it a lot of the time, but without it you actually would die a lot more often because you can't reposition yourself for the back and kite. And then of course the mana restore is also really, really helpful, because Corki is very mana hungry regardless of what kind of items he goes for. And of course the health also just amazing, right? So once again, I forgot to swap my Brutal out for Gathering Storm, but I actually think Gathering Storm is the superior option here, because Brutal, honestly, it doesn't really prompt that much. It gives not very much damage in the match, maybe about 500 or so damage plus minus, not very helpful. So Gathering Storm probably just a better option. Janister to deal with the tanks / tanky characters, Alacrity for more attack speed, and Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities. You could also of course go for Mana Flow Ban if you really need the mana. And then for the spells, we go for Flash together with Cleanse into heavy CC. Of course, otherwise you could go for Exhaust or Barrier, or even Ignite, things like that. So with all that said, let's now move on to discussing the gameplay. Okay, so let's take a look at the gameplay itself. Now, this is going to be a Corki mid gameplay and not a Corki ADC. As I mentioned in my complete guide, Corki can be played in both the mid lane role as well as the ADC role, and both of the roles are, just as good for Corki. So with my mid lane, what I like to do is I like to get a ward onto the enemy raptors. This will kind of tell me which side the enemy started on and which side he's likely to come from when he's ganking. So if he does 3 camp into gank and you spot him early, he's probably going to come from the left side, whereas if you spot him on the raptors and he doesn't come to gang, means if he ganks you, he's coming from the right side. So it's just very useful information. If you notice, Galio basically did the same thing, who is of course my enemy laner, and he basically just walked into our jungle and put a ward on the raptors as well, where Gwen actually kind of spotted him putting that ward down, and so did I, but he basically has the same trick in mind. So something about Corki mid is normally the role where you get the mages, right? As we go for a pretty good trade here. Of course, when you shred them with the Gatling gun, you generally will win the trades. But as I was saying, for Corki mid, you are an AD champion, and this means that for the mid lane, you normally have an AP champion. So you don't want to play Corki mid if your team has no AP. So in this game, I do have Gwen, who is a very strong AP champion, which is why I'm playing Corki mid. And also, by the way, shout out to the Gwen. I was put in the jungle role, but she did swap with me, so thank you for that. As we have a very heavy trade in the mid lane, we are both really, really low. And we're going to get back to the conversation about AP in just a little bit, because there is going to be action here. Obviously, with two people both with very low health bars. It is going to be very dangerous. So you see here, I walk up to CS, Galio flashes forward, tries to taunt, and actually misses. But here I basically get a little bit overconfident by the fact that Galio misses the taunt, and I decide to just try to blast him instead. Of course, he still had the E to gap close, and he just murders me, which of course is not a good look. So anyways, back to the conversation about AP. You don't want to play Corki mid if you don't have any other AP. And the reason for that is there are many ways to counter a full AD team. And in fact, two of the biggest counters to a full AD team are on the enemy team, right? And that's Malphite and Rammus, right? So if, for example, Gwen was like a AD champion, this game would literally be lost in draft, right? Because if you are playing a full AD team, there is no one who can kill Rammus or Malphite unless they're very far behind. Like, unless we get insanely ahead in the early game, it's not gonna happen. Speaking of the early game, here you can see the Rammus has gone in for a gank. Tristana jumps in and commits. I'm jumping in as well. We're blasting down Samira. Somehow she survives, and eventually the auto is able to kill her. So in the end, it's a 1-for-1 trade, having to flash out of the way to make sure I don't get caught up overextended. Galio spots me here, goes for his first strike proc, and does get a decent amount of damage. Here I was waiting for my W cooldown to dash over the wall, because honestly, I don't even know if dashing over the wall was the right move, because he just full comboed me, means he had no damage. So if I actually stayed there and continued blasting him, I might actually be able to return damage. So maybe hopping over the wall was actually a bad idea. Now, in hindsight, probably that was a misplay. I think the better play would just be to stand my ground and just blast him in return. So, back to the point about AD and AP. So, Malphite and Rammus are insane when playing against a full/heavy AD team. In fact, even in this game, it's an insane pick here. Like, if you they're gonna be building basically full armor, and it's gonna be very difficult for us to kill either of them, because we basically have all AD champions except Gwen. So it's really kind of Gwen's job to kill them. And of course, in solo queue, if your Gwen ends up falling behind, ends up not doing well, and then you're gonna find yourself in a lot of trouble. Basically, the only kind of really good part about this is they don't actually have a hyper carry ADC. Now, if Samira was like a Jinx, a Caitlyn, those kind of long range champions who want to stand in the back line, I think it will be way worse, because you're not going to be able to get past like Rammus, Malphite, Galio, and Singed even, right? This is like a dream game to play like a hyper carry ADC, but of course the enemy ADC chose not to do that. But yeah, so it is going to be a pretty tough game for us just based on the draft, because we have 4 AD into Rammus and Malphite. Now, thankfully, Malphite has first strike, and he appears to be going for Ludens as a first item, so he's going AP. That makes the situation a lot easier in terms of killing him. Speaking of killing, I'm just going to roam over, just get a free kill on Samira. Malphite is getting shredded, Rammus is getting shredded, tanks a tower shot, but obviously I'm not going to chase the two tanks, because I'm not going to be able to kill them. Tristana has already respawned, so I am going to just recall to restore my HP, and then rotate back over to the mid lane
Bottom turret is under attack.
and handle the Galio, because Tristana's going to be able to take over her lane after respawning, and I can just go over to the mid lane and take over my own lane. The alternative was to get Tristana to go mid lane instead and then take over her lane, but of course we don't really want to do that so early into the game. Now, here another fight is breaking out once again. Gwen is there. I'm making the rotation way before Galio. I thought that we could kill Samira here, but her ulti, I guess, is just too OP, and everybody just dies to the ulti. Samira picks up a triple kill, and at this point, she survives, and she becomes insanely fed just off of that one fight. She's now at like 5k gold, which is, you know, far and away the most in the game. I mean, Tristana's at 4.5, so she's doing pretty well as well, whereas I'm at 3.8. And I'm obviously not the most ahead, but of course we are playing a scaling build as well, so it's not about being very far ahead in the early game, although that would be nice. So here we're just gonna clear up the lane. You can see Galio is rotating over to the Herald, and now I'm gonna make my way over there with the help of Gwen. And here's Rammus. Galio is mid jungle 2v2 here, and here Galio doesn't manage to taunt me. I'm able to dash out, and here I'm just going onto the Galio. I have to flash over, double auto and a ulti just to blast him down, and now it's Rammus and myself in a 1v1. I'm going to cleanse the taunt, and then we're going to get rid of both Malphite as well as Rammus. Now, of course, in this fight, we did have Gwen for the magic damage to kind of help to chunk them down, but of course, we also had the fact that Malphite is building AP, so he's not actually that tanky to begin with, and thankfully Rammus is not very tanky as of yet. Like, if you guys play ADC, you guys will know that Rammus gets to the point where he becomes so tanky that with Thornmail and his W, he doesn't even have to auto-attack you. Just by standing there and you auto-attacking him, you will actually kill yourself, which I think is one of the stupidest things ever. Like, how does it make sense that Thornmail plus W can do more damage than you can do to him, and you basically cannot attack him, otherwise you're gonna kill yourself? This doesn't even make sense. But you guys know what I'm talking about, so he's definitely not at that stage yet. So thankfully so. But here, we're just gonna do the best we can. We're at 4-2-1 now. We're decently fed. You can actually see that we're actually in spinning distance of Samira's goal. Here we're trying to help Aatrox actually get out, but it's not happening, right? It's not happening. Here we actually land the rockets, and we actually have the package, but you can see that we can't pick up the package because, like, we have the 3 tanks there, and Galio's zoning me off the package, so I can't pick it up. So it's a waste of a package, but it is what it is. Like, not worth dying for the package, definitely. Here, Gwen's getting caught out, and I'm trying to see if I can help out. Sinch actually walks away, so here I realize that there's an opportunity to go in. We actually kill both of them. However, Samira just ulted Malphite's here, and Sinch is now back in the party, and I realize there's no way I'm getting out. Even if I had flash here, there's no way I survive. Like, even if I flash on the tower here, I still think I die, so there's no way to escape this situation, really. And, yeah, we're just gonna take a death there. Funnily enough, Galio has Fimbulwinter first item. I'm not sure what that's about. Like, why does he have Fimbulwinter first item? I think that's kind of low-key troll. Like, he's gone for first strike, he's going full AP, but he doesn't have, like, Ludens or Oblivion or Awakened Soulstealer as a first item. He has a tank item as a first item. It doesn't quite make sense to me. But anyways, regardless, we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about us. So here we are almost at our Triforce. We're like less than 300 gold away. Unfortunately, Tristana is stealing our entire wave, which would have been our Triforce goal. Thankfully, the next wave is here, so we're gonna pick up this wave, and we should now get enough for Triforce. I'm paying my team back because I really don't want to fight. I have Triforce goal here, but my team is going in, I think, 2v4. Somehow they're winning, and now I'm gonna dash in as well, help them out, and we're gonna get the kill onto Malphite here. Galio is actually really low, so is Aatrox. Gwen decides to tank the tower. I'm gonna follow her in, walking to the wall by mistake. And Gwen now doesn't tank the tower, and I tank the tower. Thankfully, we're able to finish the kill on Galio before either of us die. And it's actually a pretty clean dive, all things considered, trading the aggro at the appropriate time. And I'm able to finally pick up my package to get the 4 big ones. Although, of course, there isn't exactly a fight happening at the moment, so I'm gonna hang on to these rockets, and then I'm gonna recall, pick up the Triforce. And here is at this point I got the goal from the kills, right? So I'm thinking, what should I go for? I see that the team is basically 3 AP champions, plus Samira and Rammus. So I'm thinking that the value of going for Maw in this game is huge. So I am going for Maw in this particular game because I'm against 3 AP, and just Maw is just an amazing item if you can buy it, right? Because 55 AD on a defensive item is just like so insane, right? Like you're building an item that gives you 55 AD and like what 45 magic resist. That's just insane. And the magic damage shield on top of that as well. Now here, there's some shenanigans happening at the top lane. I'm making my way over. Of course, I'm spotted by the controller because Tristana decided to hit it once and not actually clear the ward. Although I highly doubt Samira was going to go in there anyway. Speaking of going in, Samira is now getting pelted by Aatrox, who has just gone in. Gather is now stuck on 1 HP. I'm trying to time it, but I mistime it. Thankfully, I'm able to snipe him out and pick up the kill in the grand scheme of things. And here, tier 2 tower, we're going to get the solo tier 2 tower goal because somehow Yuumi and Aatrox were actually not close enough. So 350 gold from the tier 2 tower. And here I'm trying to ping back because we don't really want to fight outside the inhib. This is one of the most horrible places to fight, obviously because anybody coming out of the base will be able to reach real quick. Singe is now on the split push, so I was thinking of backing, but then I realized that maybe we can use Aatrox as a distraction because they have to walk through Aatrox to get to me. And now I can just blast this tower and we're able to eventually get it, as well as the local goal. Malphite gets a Ludens proc on us, but not much else. So we kind of pull off a little bit of a heist there, getting 2 towers. And if you can see, we still have not evolved our MANAMUNE into Mirror Mana, which is why I say that this build is very, very slow. We have our 3rd item, the Maw, completed already, and we still do not have the evolution of MANAMUNE into Mirror Mana. So for now, that's basically almost a useless item. Now you can see that I'm like very, very fed. I have like 11k gold, which is very far ahead of anyone other than Samira. Like everyone else on the enemy team has like 7k gold, so I'm like a good 3k gold up on people. But that's basically MANAMUNE gold, and MANAMUNE, alright, it just evolved now. So by the way, huge dodge on Malphite out there. That was insane. Like for now, when it's in MANAMUNE form, it doesn't really do anything. Now that it's evolved into Mirror Mana, now it's actually useful. By the way, guys, here Aatrox goes into a 2v2 fight, but then it becomes a 2v5 fight. I try to like help him here, but I'm not gonna walk in there, right? That's suicide, right? I'm gonna get myself killed if I walk in there. And now I'm kind of just waiting a little bit for backup. Now that my team is here, now maybe we can do something. Rammus is rolling in, not hitting me though. I'm gonna dash back, kite back, shred Rammus and Malphite, shred Singed. The 3 of them all die. Samira actually somehow dies. I think maybe Aatrox got her. And then only Galio is left. So here now it's free Baron basically. I say it's free, but it's not really that free, right? Because Gwen doesn't have the best secure. Q Smite is not really the greatest. So I'm a little bit scared of a Galio steal. Galio thankfully is a bit too late. We block his exit and we're just going to get rid of him. I mean, at this point, he doesn't really do damage because of his trash itemization. Like, just put it out there, that itemization is trash. Like, Fimbulwinter into Deathcap is horrible. Like, Fimbulwinter doesn't even give AP, and then Deathcap doesn't even boost the AP of anything other than his boots, I guess, and then he has First Strike, but he's not going to be able to one-shot anybody with this kind of build. Like, he didn't even break the shield of my Maw. So Gary is basically a non-factor in this match anymore because of his horrible itemization. So yeah, I mean, what can I say, right? So here, Yuumi finally decides to attach to me because I'm obviously the most fat person on my team, but she hasn't been doing so. And here this is, I'm seeing a very good fight in my eyes because I'm 1 hit from getting my package. Samira is not in the fight, and I'm trying to see if I can get... I actually didn't expect to hit that, which is why I didn't get the package drop. I had to go back for it. And now we're trying to chase them down, right? Yuumi is buffing me up with the movement speed. And now it's not so good of a fight anymore because they've kind of gotten away. Samira can rotate if she really needs to. And my team is not really putting pressure on other places on the map because Tristana's dead. She did take down Samira though, so that's really, really huge. Here Yuumi is ulting to kind of trap them in here. And now we can blast the Malphite into high heaven. He's squishy. Really, really squishy because he's full AP. And with the Baron minions, we can try to force this tower as well because... I mean, honestly, these 2 people can't really defend, right? See, like, the Ram is trying to walk into us, but it's not going to work. Neither is it going to work for Singe to walk into us. We're just going to shred them down and kill them, because at this point, we are very, very fed. We even almost have Molar Reminder completed already. We do have the goal for it, but we're not going to back, because we can try to actually end here. Samira is now back up, but she can't really do anything to us by herself. You can take a look at this. Right? We're destroying her. If she didn't W there, she actually dies. But, yeah, we have Yuumi on our backs now, and we are, like almost invincible at this point with Yuumi on our backs because the extra damage she gives us as well as the heals and shields is just, yeah, it's just whack, right? So here Malphite tries to ult again. He actually misses. I didn't even need to dash away. We one-shot Samira, get rid of the biggest threat on the team. Malphite gets rooted, we're gonna get rid of him as well, and the game is won at this point. We see Singe coming out, we're gonna get another free kill just to pad the stats a little bit, and that is going to be it for the gameplay. You can see how this build still absolutely carries, especially in the mid to late game when you get the evolution of MANAMUNE to Mirror Mana. Before that though, a little bit meh, but I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.